President Clinton and UFO investigators held secret talks in the winter of 1993-94. Why?
You have to remember that up till now, most of the contact that's been made has been unorganized, anecdotal, episodic. And it is time for the civilian community, not the military, but the civilian community of the world to begin to take this seriously and to take responsibility for researching this and for making contact. Our assessment is that these are real. We are not alone, and that there is overwhelming evidence that this is the case. They need to know that we have, in the United States, extraterrestrial spacecraft and bodies that have been retrieved. They need to know that there have been major sightings involving tens of thousands of people in Belgium. They need to know that in Mexico that there is to this day overflights in daylight and at night of this shape and triangular craft that are clearly of extraterrestrial origin. So we need to bring this information to a world population. Up to this point, I have to say that the government has been unwilling to discuss this for national security, technological, and other reasons, mainly dealing with panic in society. But the civilian community has not been acting in a responsible way in how it has been speaking of this subject, because the worst thing that would happen would be to bring this information out in a way that would panic society and which could cause people to lose hope for the future. And I think that we have to be responsible in what we are saying and doing. And this is a very key point to this second phase of the CSETI project, is that our intentions to brief world leadership and to brief the world are to do it in a way that are non-harmful to the consciousness of humanity.
In 1972, a high-ranking CIA official, Victor Marchetti, published an article on the CIA's analysis of UFOs. He concluded that the fact that Earth is visited by beings who are more developed than we are could upset the traditional power structure, destroy political, religious, and economic institutions, and lead our civilization into anarchy. All this will not inevitably happen, but it will create apprehension about the future among the leaders of the major powers. These fears will be realized when ufological secrets are inflated into issues of national security. Since 1952, the CIA has studied human reactions when faced by an enemy. Secret tests have been conducted using electromagnetic energy. The CIA's brainwashing or mind control program is known as MGM-Ultra. It is secret, like the military technology base Area 51 in the Nevada desert.
Concerning the Area 51, I don't know a great deal about that area, and I have a number of friends that go out there all the time and check and so on. But basically, I spent 2 years in the Central Intelligence Agency, and some things that do bother me about that is if you want to hide something, you're the military or a government agency or anything, and you want to hide something, the best way to do that is to create something else for someone else to see. We've done this in the company before in covert operations. It's an excellent way of doing that. And the best way to also cover it better is to, of course, leak secrets about it, make sure that those are confirmed secrets and that only pieces of that can be known with these reliable sources and so on. And what you, in effect, end up seeing is something quite unusual or something that's different than what it is that they're actually trying to hide. That would be my sense of it. I have no proof of that. But that's just my experience from being in the company myself back in the Vietnam War, 1968 to 71. I think the UFO cover-up situation, I think it's primarily an American thing, and I hate to say that, but other countries are quite forward with their ideas and views and coming forward with their information. Even the Russians now are giving remarkable information to George Knapp, and he's bringing back some remarkable things apparently. The cover-up is going to end when someone finally literally throws the evidence up on the table. When that happens, the government and everyone else is going to have to come forward. Let me give you just a scenario. Suppose someone had an alien and tossed a sucker up on the table. When that happens, someone's going to come forward in America to arrest that individual. That's going to tell you who is hiding what at that point. That's a real important thing to think about. So our primary area of work is in getting physical evidence. We have several implants and other things. We're uncovering evidence all the time. Ultimately, we think we'll find a good, literally a body of evidence. When that is placed in the public domain, government entities and others are going to come forward. These are then the people who are, in fact, responsible for covering things up, because they're going to be the ones to come forward to arrest you or cover it up or threaten you. Those are the people that will really be guilty. So I think, in a nutshell, basically, the aliens can't be controlled. The government's going to spin the information and convince you that they are. They are not, in fact, in control. No one is.
I am a contactee. I am not an abductee. I willingly go. I want to help. I find it fascinating, and I feel that it is important that other souls who are also having these experiences try to come forth with the information, because we are not being told the entire story by our governments. The crafts that I have been into, one of the motherships that I go to is called Atlantia. It is approximately 250 miles long. It has a population of it, from what I understand, of anywhere from 150 to 500,000 beings at one particular time. It is completely self-sufficient. It needs nothing. My last contact was 2.5 weeks ago in North County, San Diego. And ladies and gentlemen, I have had the opportunity to converse with the Andromedans regarding much UFO information that is circulating throughout the UFO community. And one of the things that I have been able to do is to verify where many of the alien bases, or joint alien-human bases, are on the world. And I have in front of me a
The
map.
CIA has a department for the spread of disinformation. It is at least as big as the department for the collection of UFO data. The CIA makes it difficult to distinguish between genuine and false information about cooperation between itself and UFOs and about its secret bases. UFO investigators are, however, stationed in the areas where there is much UFO activity.
Iran, in the middle of the Iranian desert. Tibet, high in the mountains of the Himalayas. Narvik, in Scandinavia, near a military base. Africa, there are 2 in Egypt. 1 in Algeria, near Tahat. 1 in the Sudan. Okay, there are 2 in Australia. 1 south of Alice Springs called Pine Gap, and another in the Great Victoria Desert. These are both built by the CIA of the United States. And the government there and the aliens are both operating both these bases. Okay, now I'd like to go to South America, to the country of Brazil. Also, along the Andes Mountains in Chile, Peru, Bolivia, Argentina. There are many bases as well in the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to show you where they are in North America and the United States. State of Montana, Red Mountain. In Nevada, Black Rock Desert. And the other in the Kawich Mountain Range, which is known as Area 51.
The abduction by a UFO of 2 shipyard workers, Charles Hickson and Calvin Parker, in October 1973 caused a sensation in the United States. The men were out fishing when behind them landed a cigar-shaped, silver-colored UFO, about 30 meters in length and emitting bright blue light.
On October the 11th, 1973, Calvin Parker, a friend of mine, and myself went fishing on the Pascagoula River in Pascagoula, Mississippi. It was probably a little after the sun went down in the evening, and we were fishing from a pier out into the river, and I heard some sound behind me, a hissing-like sound, and I turned and looked, and there was some kind of crab was hovering about 18 inches or 2 foot above the ground, and Calvin had turned by this time. He was looking at the same object. There was blue lights up on the end that was toward us, which I'm assuming was the front. and a door, a sliding door, I assume, appeared there, and there was a brilliant light that came outside of the door, and three things, I found out later, were robots. They came into this beam of light and came outside, and two of them took hold of me and one took hold of Calvin. And when they took hold of me, I felt pain in my left arm, and I seemed to rise above the ground to the height they were into the light beam, and they carried me aboard the craft. And inside the room that we were in was probably round. It was glowing from the walls and the ceiling and the walls and the floor. And these things released me, and I could move my eyes, the only thing I could move. And in front of me, something came out from the wall. It appeared to be a big eye. It moved up in front of me, in my face, and it lingered there a while, and then it moved downward. And I'm assuming it went under me and came back over the top of my head and back in front of me again. And this thing remained there a few minutes, and then it went back into the wall. And by that time, these things had come back and took hold of me, and we turned and was in the beam of light and went back outside the craft, and they released me, and I fell to the ground. It was this time I saw Calvin, and he was standing there with his arms outstretched. He appeared to be going in shock. And I made myself toward him, and before I reached him, I heard the hissing sound again, and I looked behind me and saw those blue lights, and this craft was just instantly gone. And I made my way on to Calvin, and I brought him back from going into shock, and before I could talk to him, and I tried to assure him that they hadn't done any harm to us physically. I didn't know what they had done to him mentally. These things were robots. They were about 5 foot 6 inches tall. They was gray in color. It appeared to me it looked like elephant skin. It was very wrinkled. And their arms were, they were real long in proportion to their body. Their legs remained together. They didn't have feet. It seemed to be something round where the stumps where the feet should have been. And I knew, or I know now, that these things were robots. They didn't have any indication of breathing. They didn't have any eyes. And I found out later under deep hypnosis that there's a window to the left of that area where the eye came from in the wall, and they were living beings in that, looking through that window at me. I don't think they could come out into this atmosphere, and they had the rowboats out there to examine me. We didn't know what to do after the craft left, and in talking, we decided that we'd call Keesler Air Force Base, which is only about 25 or 30 miles from there. We called Keesler, and I called Keesler, and they told me that they didn't handle those things, that we'd have to go through our sheriff's department. So then we hesitated there. We didn't want to be called nuts and so on, but I finally decided that we needed to tell someone. I thought it might be a threat to our country.
According to FBI files, Hickson and Parker were interrogated for hours in the Jackson Sheriff's Office the following day. What made the interrogation special was the presence of 12 federal security experts, including 3 colonels, 2 lieutenant colonels, a major, and a captain, led by Colonel Amdahl, a senior medical officer. Professor James Harder's use of hypnosis and a lie detector test showed that the men were telling the truth. In the case of Hickson, the incident did not remain his only UFO contact. They have continued to this day.
Since 1973, I've been contacted many times from these beings. They've told me of world events that will happen. In fact, they told me that for a reason that communism would fall. And I told the news people about this before it did fall, and they didn't believe me. They laughed at me. We know now that communism in Russia has failed, and it's going to soon be a thing of the past. These people have told me of a major event that's going to happen in the world that's going to affect everyone. but I'm not prepared and can't talk about it at this time.
Hundreds of UFO cases have been reported in Scandinavia. The most famous incidents have been the discovery of the wreck of a UFO on Spitsbergen by 6 Norwegian Army pilots in the summer of 1952, and the Hessdalen UFO incident in northern Norway. In addition to international experts, Norwegian universities and the Army took part in the Hessdalen UFO investigations. Hundreds of UFO reports have come out of Finland too. Most UFO sightings have occurred in northern Finland, in the Pudasjärvi-Kuusamo Fell district at the turn of the 1970s. An incident that occurred at Nivala in northern Finland in August 1993 amazed UFO researchers.
On August 15, 1993, an interesting UFO incident took place. A 73-year-old woman saw a red light from her back window. She went to look at it through the window and saw the globe had turned into a triangular, roofless room. It hovered in the air, and 2 pairs of ladders appeared. The room was lit by spotlights hanging from the roof. The man had a small basket over his left arm. They started moving, as if on hyperspeed film, picking up samples from the ground. Once the job was done, the room vanished and the globe inflated. Once its normal size, it vanished. Scientists approached the incident using hologram technology, as the UFO was sighted only through one of the 2 window panes. Professors and psychologists from the University of Oulu will assist.
Niinkö, minut herätettiin yöllä. Uutiset kuunneltiin 10 aikana ja yöllä tuli joku, kun minä nukuin oikealla kiveellä. Otettiin vasemmasta olkapäästä kiinni ja joku sanoi minulle, se vähän ravitteli olkapäästä ja sanoi, että herttää. Tuli niinkö jostakin ämpärin pohjalta se ääni. Ja tavallaan kun minä aukasin silmät, ei siellä voinut tapahtua. Siellä oli niin kuin aurinko paistunut siellä. Ja kun minä tuun tuossa kynnyksen tykönä, niin minä katson tuonne mehtään tuolla. Niin voi mikä siellä oli. Semmoinen pallo. Minä huusin minun siskolle tuonne sänkyhuoneeseen, että tuo hyvä lähden kahtoon, mikä täällä on. Näetkö sä samanlaisen, minkä minä? Ja jos tuo on kuu, niin silloin se on pudonnut ratalta alas. Ja jos se vielä puoli metriä, se oli niin kuin 3 metriä maasta yläpuolella. Jos se vielä puoli metriä laskeutuu, niin se maapetovoima vettää ja silloin me ollaan räjähtänyt. Ja meitä ei ole varmaan aamulla yllällä enää, eikä meitä taida täällä enää ollakaan. Mä sanoin siskolle sitten, kun siltä niin rupesi nukuttamaan se 10 minuuttia siinä kahtui. Mä sanoin, että vaan nyt kädet kumminkin risti, että meitä ei taida enää aamulla täällä olla.
Se oli ihmeellinen paikka se, että minä silloin rupesi niin väsyttämään niin, että tuntui, että mun silmät menee väkisellä umpeen jo silloin illalla, aivan siinä 8:30 maissa. Ja minähän panin nukkumaan, niin sisko tulee sitten herättämään 1:30 aikana, että tuu kahtoo, että mikä tuolla on tuolla niin metässä. No, että onko se kuu vai mikä se oikein on. Ja minä tulin sitten ja mä sanoin, että ei tuo kuu ole, että se on niin kirkas niin, että eihän siihen niin voi kahtuakaan. Ja sitten mä pistin vasemman käden näin jotenkin siihen, että tuntui, että silmiä on, ja se oli semmoista. Niin, parin päivän päästä rupesi sitten nouseen sitten tähän semmoinen 10 senttiä, niin semmoinen palovamma. Ja Sitten mä lähdin, kun se tuntuu vaan, että se kuumentaa ja kuumentaa niin kovasti, niin mä lähdin sitten tuonne Nivalan terveyskeskukseen ja mä olin siellä Pikkaraselle, sai ajaa. Ja Pikkarainen sanoi, että onko sinua joku pistänyt tuohon. Mä sanoin, että ei siihen ole mikään pistänyt. Niin. Mä sitten rupesin sillekin puhumaan niin, että uskooko hän muihin ufoihin ja tällä lailla, mutta ei se siihen senkaan, kyllä se kuunteli sitä vaan. Ja se antoi sitten mulle sitä antibioottitabletteja ja minä söin ne, niin se sitten meni pois. Mutta minusta tuntuu, että sitä näkyy vieläkin vähän siinä semmoinen.